Nobody wins when the family feels. But my
Year-old Shamaya Hall, and she's in custody this morning, facing capital murder charges. Hall was booked in jail around 11 last night. Police say 2 of her other children were rushed to a hospital with stab wounds.
And I just want everybody to know them are some beautiful angels. And I love them. And I know God never make no mistake. And I just want to say, they gained their wings. And this is something that hurts so bad.
CPS sent us this statement saying, "We are shocked by this incomprehensible tragedy and already working with law enforcement to investigate how this happened and why."
What happened behind all this caution tape?
It's just a horrible occasion.
Left this South Dallas street
They said that the mother of the child stabbed her.
in disbelief Thursday.
The 6-year-old was then taken to an area hospital by DFR, where she died from her injuries.
She is there for removal of the kids. The last time she was at this address, the mother was aggressive, and she is being combative today.
I know this could be a little harsh, but one of my mother's famous quotes growing up was, "Because you can make kids, don't mean you can have them." Family, we headed to Texas today. Italy, Texas, and South Dallas. We gotta talk about 2 twin sisters who are responsible for taking the life of their own kids. And what's even more sick is that it pretty much happened the same way. Kids do not have the opportunity to pick their parents, but parents have the opportunity to pick when they have kids. So before we get into this one, remember family, I don't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we're gonna jump right to it. Over the weekend, some horrible news came out of Italy, Texas. It was a Saturday night, and reports had came out that a mom had took the life of some of her children, leaving all 5 stabbed being transported to the hospital. Now, more information wasn't released to the next day, which we'll follow up, but they did give the identity of the mom. She in her 20s. Her name's Shamaya Hall. Now, before we elaborate on her criminal history, and she have a twin sister who we touched on before, who done similar actions just a couple of years before, I want you guys to check out the first news clip when the Texas residents was worried that 5 kids were stabbed.
Year-old Shamaya Hall, and she's in custody this morning, facing capital murder charges. Hall was booked in jail around 11 last night. Police say 2 of her other children were rushed to a hospital with stab wounds. Now, this all happened in the town of Italy that's located off I-35, about 40 miles south of Dallas. As of now, we don't know what led up to this tragedy, but sources tell us Hall stabbed her children when a CPS worker arrived at the family home unannounced to check on everyone. We're told that CPS workers suspected Hall was having unsupervised visitation. The kids were living there under the supervision of another relative. Police tell us the worker called 911. All 3 of the children were elementary school aged. 2 more were taken to the hospital. We don't know the extent of their injuries right now. Now, as you can imagine, our crews on the scene tell us everyone there is very upset and they were shocked. A relative who babysat the kids spoke with us. She says she remembers holding the children as if it were yesterday.
And I just want everybody to know them are some beautiful angels. And I love them. And I know God never make no mistake. And I just want to say, they gained their wings. And this is something that hurts so bad.
CPS sent us this statement saying, "We are shocked by this incomprehensible tragedy and already working with law enforcement to investigate how this happened and why." We've also learned this morning Shamaya Hall has been arrested before. Sources tell WFAA senior crime reporter Rebecca Lopez she was arrested back in 2017 for stabbing her sister's boyfriend. Her twin sister was also arrested in 2021 and charged with stabbing her 7-year-old daughter to death. And new overnight, we are hearing for the first time from the Children's School District. The superintendent there says we are a tight-knit small community, and as such, many students will be impacted by this incident. She also says the district will have counselors available this morning at Stafford Elementary and all next week. This is a lot to take in and a major story you can imagine we will be following for several days.
Now, a lot of people was putting a lot of blame on CPS as well, but I let you guys leave a comment at the conclusion of this video if you guys think so. But as we stay on track, the next day, more information on her criminal history, also her twin sister, and more to what led up to the tragic events Saturday night. Now, before we elaborate on what led up to the events last night, we got to go back a couple years and talk about Shamaya's twin sister. She was a resident of Dallas, Texas, and in 2014, she gave birth to her child, Madison Perry. and in May of 2017, she used a knife to threaten her boyfriend, who was living in the apartments of his female cousin. A few days later, she forced her way into the apartment and attacked her boyfriend's female's cousin, who she thought was his new girlfriend. When she was arrested, she was identifying herself to authorities using Shamaya's name, her twin sister. After pleading guilty to charges of aggravated assault and burglary of habitation, which she committed, she was sentenced to 8 years of deferred adjudication probation. But check this out. Just 4 years later, on June 17, 2021, she was at home in Dallas with her mother, her younger brother, and her younger brother male friend, then 16, and her child. She stabbed a teenage boy and her child. While the male victim survived, her daughter died in the hospital. She was arrested before the day had ended. Now the next day, she was charged with capital murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. She was booked into Lou Stewart Justice Center in Dallas on a $1,500,000 bond. But in October 2021, she was just ordered to go to a North Texas State Hospital in Vernon, Texas, where she became listed as mentally ill.
What happened behind all this caution tape
It's just a horrible occasion.
left this South Dallas street
They said that the mother of the child stabbed her.
in disbelief Thursday.
The 6-year-old was then taken to an area hospital by DFR, where she died from her injuries.
A 6-year-old child was stabbed to death by her own mother just before 2 p.m., according to sources within Dallas police. A teen neighbor was also stabbed, but is in stable condition. The mother now in custody, but police haven't told us her name or the circumstances leading up to the stabbings,
It's still ridiculous.
which has many in this area asking, why?
It's still a kid. 4, whether she was 4, 6, whatever, kids.
We're told an off-duty cop who lives on this street did intervene during the violence, detaining the mother. Police say he also rushed the child to a nearby fire station. Neighbors say that happened when paramedics took too long to arrive.
Time is just you're calling in and you can't get through.
Lamont Levels is a neighbor who called 911. He says he struggled to get someone on the other line. A spokesperson for DPD told us the department would be looking at that response.
I think the city of Dallas should be ashamed of themselves today.
The city started the day with 93 homicides for the year. At this time in 2020, there was just 84. Now, an innocent child
That's the sad part about all of this.
joins that horrific statistic. In Dallas, I'm Matt Howerton.
Well, that happened in 2021. She was sentenced in 2022. But it seemed a year after she was sentenced, her twin sister would be in the same situation, leaving 3 of her kids deceased and 2 more in critical condition. Now, Shamaya had 5 kids. She stabbed all 5, ages 4, 5, 5, 6, and 13 months. This happened March 3rd, 2023. When authorities went inside the home, the 5-year-olds were twins. One of them was found deceased in the back room, as well as the oldest, the 6-year-old. Now, apparently, they must really do have mental issues, and a lot of times that trickled down from post-past trauma, because someone had called authorities that the mom was home around the kids when she's not supposed to be. And apparently, CPS was called rather, and CPS called authorities. And when that happened, Shamaya instantly flashed out. Authorities arrived a little over 5 minutes, and everything was heard by the CPS worker.
Rayla Morrison came to pray outside her family's home. She says her family is grieving after 5 of her little cousins were stabbed.
I'm hurting. This has hurt me because when you hear of something like this happening, yes, it does. It grieves your heart.
Authorities say the tragedy unfolded at 4 p.m. Friday afternoon when a CPS worker came to this house in Italy to check on the 5 children who were staying with their grandmother. But when the CPS worker arrived, the mother, Shamaya Hall, answered the door. Sources say she was not supposed to be there unsupervised with her kids. The caseworker called 911. This is what dispatchers relayed to first responders.
She is there for removal of the kids. The last time she was at this address, the mother was aggressive, and she is being combative today.
The Ellis County Sheriff's Department says police arrived 5 minutes later to a horrifying scene.
I got kids, multiple stab wounds, back bedroom.
Authorities say a 6-year-old boy and 2 5-year-old twins were dead. A 4-year-old boy and a 13-month-old girl were seriously injured, all of them siblings.
I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know why it happened. We can't change it, but what we can do is pray for the family.
There is a family history with CPS and police. Shamaya Hall has been arrested before in Dallas County. Court records show that in 2017, Hall and her twin sister, Troche Hall, were arrested for aggravated assault against Troche's boyfriend. According to court documents, the sisters went to his apartment. When he saw them, he immediately tried to slam the door shut, but they grabbed his shirt and sprayed him with pepper spray. The records go on to say Troche pulled a knife out of her bra while Shamaya told her to run up on him and attack him. In another tragic twist to this story, Shamaya's twin sister, Troche Hall, is also accused of stabbing her little girl to death at a house in Dallas in 2021. According to court records, the mother says Troche's little girl was lying on the living room floor, bloody with multiple stab wounds. She was standing over the body, quiet and not saying anything. Troche was charged with capital murder, but was found incompetent to stand trial and is now in a mental health facility. Meanwhile, Shamaya Hall sits in the Ellis County Jail with $6 million worth of bonds, charged with 3 counts of capital murder. Family members say they couldn't comment on the history or the events that led up to 5 little kids being attacked, allegedly by their own mother. In Italy, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
As we wrap this video up, we want to take a moment and send love and say rest in peace to those angels who lost their life far too soon. Prayers, love, and condolences to anyone who was affected by the series of events that we touched on as well. Family, that was the story of 2 twin sisters who took the life of their own kids, apparently because they have mental issues. Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.